Everyone loves pop, pop music, popcorn, Popeye, and especially pop counts. Today we'll tell you why they matter, and it's not why you think. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and definitely hit the notification bells. Hello, fellow card analysts, and welcome to Collectible Market Analytics, where I bring my 20 years of Wall Street experience to you and the card markets. So, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, trying to understand why is it that pop counts matter. And it's not really the reason why you think. I guess the initial thought is if you're into collectibles, any kind of collectibles, the more rare something is, the more valuable it would be. Well, in the card markets, apparently that's not true. So I wanted to start doing a little bit of a deep dive into this and understanding what is going on here. So, for example, let's take a simple example, okay? Let's look at the LeBron James 2003 Topps rookie card. There are 32 times as many of this card as there are the LeBron James rookie finest card. And yet, for some reason, this card is more valuable, the Topps card. It's, on the high side in terms of the high price. If I look at the last 3 months, it's about 14 times higher on the high price than the finest card. It's about 12 times higher on the low price, right? So if you look at the high and the low of the 3-month period, right, on the low side, it's 12 times higher even on the low price. And so, trying to understand why is this the case? And I did this analysis for a number of rookie cards across baseball and football and basketball. I love hockey. I'm not going to besmirch hockey, but at the end of the day, hockey just didn't have enough volume for this analysis, but I'm sure that it would be a similar type thought process. But if you look across the board and look at this slides and this data that I put together, every single time the pop count is higher, the value of the card is higher. So I can only kind of relate this to the stock market, again, where my background is. And there's something called a liquidity, or I should say an illiquidity discount. So what does that mean? Well, if you go and buy Google stock, there's a huge market for Google stock. There's hundreds of millions of shares out there and tens of millions that get traded every single day. And so if you need to get out of your Google stock, if you just bought Google stock and the next day you realize, oh, shoot, I need that money, you can sell it right back into the marketplace. And the market's very, very efficient. There's just so much of the stock trading that you don't have to worry about losing value because you have to now go find a buyer. So if you buy a stock that doesn't really trade so much, and we actually call that, trading by appointment, for example, where let's say instead of trading tens of millions of shares a day or hundreds of millions of shares a day, it trades maybe 10,000 shares a day. So what's going to happen are sort of two things that happen in that situation. One is that when you want to go and sell your shares in ABC company that's not really very liquid, doesn't have a lot of shares trading, you're going to end up taking a hit on price. So if the value today of that stock is, let's say, $50, when you go and try to sell it, somebody's going to want to only give you 48, right? Or 49 or 47. So they're going to want to discount that because they're the only game in town. You need to sell and you don't really have a choice. So that's really what we're talking about when we talk about an illiquidity discount, right? You really have no choice, and you're in that situation where there's not a lot of movement, a lot of volume. So if you look at the sales of these high pop count cards, there's a lot of them in circulation, which means that there's a liquid market. So if people need to get out of them, they can. And so the market has turned into something that wasn't in existence when I was a kid. When I was much, much younger, it was really a situation where you bought cards that were rare, and you wanted to have those rare cards in your PC, in your personal collection. And that was special. But now I think we're in a world of, day traders, sort of day traders in the card market. You see it everywhere. You see people going crazy to buy boxes at Walmart and Target, killing each other just to get some boxes to turn a profit, to flip those things. And I've even been in a store where you've got 15 or 20 sort of 20-year-olds hanging around waiting for the person to load those shelves with boxes of cards, and they're all talking about how they got to eat. They got to eat. They keep saying, I got to eat. I mean, it's pathetic. But They kept saying, listen, I need these cards because I could flip them 3, 4, 5 times the value and make some money and pay my rent, which I just find that very sad. Sad for them, obviously, but also sad for the marketplace, because at the end of the day, any collectible market should be based on, a number of things, but most importantly, rarity, right? Whether it's art, right? Limited number this, limited number that. And you'd figure our markets, right? Our card markets, when you have a one-of-one Luka Doncic going for, millions of dollars, you'd figure that rarity should matter, but it actually doesn't. And it's kind of interesting because even those one-of-one cards, there are many one-of-one cards. So is it really a one-of-one, right? If you've got a one-of-one in National Treasures and a one-of-one in Chronicles and a one-of-one in Prism and a one-of-one in Finest and a one-of-one, literally go down the list, there's a lot of one-of-ones. All of a sudden, there's probably 20 one-of-ones. So, is that really valuable? So I guess, to wrap up here, I don't want to take this too long, but to wrap up here, I think at the end of the day, I'm seeing sort of this dichotomy in the market. There are true collectors who are looking for things that are rare, and that's sort of their mentality. And that's great. That, I think, is the way the hobby should be, to be honest with you. Then there's another faction of the market, which lately has been dominating the market, I'd say over the last bunch of years, last 3, 4, 5 years. I think that the marketplace is dominated now by flippers, by traders, by people who are looking for a side hustle, by Gary V's, I would call them, people who follow Gary V, who just want to, generate cash in the moment and have taken the hobby and gone nuts with it in terms of creating, they've created liquidity, which is great, but collectors, I think, are about collecting for the long term. They're not about liquidity and how quickly can I flip it. And I think that's really where we are today. It's unfortunate. And I think the card companies have followed through on that. So Panini especially has looked at the marketplace and said, well, it's a world of flippers, so I'm going to feed into that. And it's really a combination of not just feeding into that aspect, but also the gambling aspect. So I think if you look at everybody ripping packs to try to find a card, it's like a scratch-off lottery mentality. And I think it's just ridiculous and really bad for our culture. And, listen, when we were kids, we'd open the packs trying to find our favorite players. To be honest, a lot of my collection, I would flip. I would, play, we'd try to match the colors, and whoever matched the colors would win that pile. And, or we'd flip them, literally flipping them on the ground and see if we could, match our friend and see if we would win that way. But today's marketplace is all about, what's it going to grade? Is it off center? Am I going to pull this card? Am I going to pull that card? And that's really where we are today. So coming back, having high pop counts be the cards that are worth so much more now, I can understand. And that just tells me that, probably 80% of the marketplace are, Gary V's, they're flippers, they're people who, want to make a quick buck and flip something. But I think that dominates over the 20% of people that are maybe true collectors. And so I would say to the collectors, listen, don't play the game. Don't play the flip game. Don't chase cards. If you're an old time collector, dude, don't show me your 14, Ronald Acuna, whatever the hell his name is, rookie cards. Don't, it's just not going to do it for me. Right. All of a sudden, Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert. How is it possible that Justin Herbert's cards, he's been in the league for 8 seconds and his cards are worth more than folks who are already in the Hall of Fame? It just does not make any sense whatsoever. None, especially at these super high pop counts, a ton of variations. It makes no sense. Look at, I did a video on 2019 Prism and specifically Zion Williamson's card. Zion's great. Listen, he's a great player. I think he'll have a great career in the NBA. But at the same time, does it make sense for Zion, who's got 96 variations of his card just in the Prism set alone, does it make sense for any of his rookie cards to be valuable at all? Then you're going to say, oh, well, there's so many of those, so really it's the one of one, it's the rookie patch auto, it's this, it's that. Maybe, maybe not. But at the end of the day, should that be worth more, or Luka Doncic's card be worth more than guys like Michael Jordan, who, is best guy to ever play the game, in my opinion, or even LeBron, who's a close second. It makes no sense at all. It makes no sense. So what I would say is, please, if you're a collector, stay a collector. Don't try to flip cards, make money. It's not going to happen. You're not going to enjoy it. You can turn into a business, and it's not going to be what you really got into the hobby for. And if you're a flipper and you're a guy trying to make a few bucks, a Gary Veer, good for you, man. Good for you, or woman, or whoever you are. Good for you. Get out there, make a few bucks. That's great. Doesn't mean I got to play your game. All right. So, I do wish you luck. Listen, it's great. You're creating liquidity in the marketplace. Panini is helping you by coming out with, hundreds of thousands of each, cards of each player. It wouldn't surprise me if they produced 1 million Zions each year. So, I wish you luck. I really do. I'm not besmirching you. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I'm just trying to tell you that, at the end of the day, if you're a flipper, that's great. You got a marketplace, that's good for you. If you're an old-time collector, kind of like me, try not to get sucked into the game. I did a little bit. I went out and got some Prism football to try to break. I got a couple boxes that I broke just for myself to rip and try to find, Burrow, because I think he'll be good, or Herbert. But I'm not going to go chase spending money on that. And as soon as those boxes went up to ridiculous prices, I was out. And that's when I really realized things were out of control. So I wish everyone the best. Happy card collecting. And I will continue to try to produce some really good deep dives and data for you. And please like, subscribe, and give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that bell, the notification bell, so you get all the latest data. Enjoy.